We're going into production. Sort of. Every year, my wife and I make Christmas gifts for a lot of people, just a little kind of trinket gift, just something fun to give them. And this year we decided on making Christmas trees. Well, what that meant to me was I had to cast 40 Christmas trees. So the deal is I cast them, my wife makes them look good. That's the deal that we have. She definitely does make them look better than I do, that's for sure. And I got to thinking, you know, the way to do this is to do a match plate. And so this is the match plate that I built. The match plate is got your pattern basically glued to a nice board so that you can just ram this thing up repeatedly, and everything's in place, ready to go. You just ram it up, take it out, do the next one, ram it up, take it. And so this one, this is my drag side. I've got the runner with the spin trap on it. And the cope side, I've got the trees and the other half of my spin trap. So the runner comes right along the bottom of this. These are the gates into my trees. And there's actually probably can't see it, but the gate is a little bit shy of the top of the tree surface. So I've got a nice little witness line. I cut those guys off. I have a hole here mounted for my sprue. So when I ram this thing up, I just set the sprue in the hole and it's always in the right place. It lines up perfectly with that guy on the back side. One of the things I had problems with, and I'm going to show you a couple pictures here. I had problems with it filling, and for the life of me, I could not figure out. They would do this, so I got like that one, and it seemed like I was getting a 50% yield out of these guys, and I could not for the life of me figure out what the problem was. I mean, it wasn't. I kept checking the temperature of my metal. The metal was hot enough. Woke up one morning, I'm laying there in bed. And like old men do, like all old men do, I started thinking about volumetric flow rates. And, with the idea of, I've got one runner feeding, these parts. And I got up and I looked at my model and I calculated and I was like, dang, there's like 4 times this runner, or these gates are like 4 times the volume of that runner. And I thought, maybe I'm just not getting enough volume through there before they freeze up. And so I thought, well, what could I do? Well, some of you who follow me on Instagram saw what I did. I took my square sprue, so I wrapped it in wood, just so you can see that there. And I did the same thing to the runner on the bottom. I wrapped it with a real thin piece of wood just to kind of increase the volume of this thing. I still didn't go huge. I didn't go with, I gotta say this about that. I had 2 people when I don't understand. Why? I just don't get it. One guy said to me, he's like, well, did that work? Could I put this up on Instagram, right? He said, well, did that work? Because, basically, there's 2 camps out there. Those that think that a tiny sprue like me isn't right, and you need to go with a big, fat, honking open sprue, right, to pour things with. Did it help? Which camp are you going to fall in, basically? It's like, come on. And then another guy said something like, well, this just won't flow. Baloney. Those things flow just fine. I've cast bells with a smaller sprue. Don't tell me they don't flow. Anyway, one more time. The purpose of the tapered sprue is to deliver the full speed of the metal without entraining air without sucking air down the sprue with it. It mimics the shape of the falling metal. As it's falling down, it gets thinner. It encloses and encases that metal, so we're not sucking air down to the mold. We're not making sponges. We're making solid casting. There's my little rant. Anyway, that turned out to not be the answer, believe it or not. And I got to try some other things. I ended up venting, going with like a lot of vents, and that seems to, you're going to see this by the very end. I thought that fixed my problem, but I had one mold that I did not vent. I forgot to vent it and it poured just fine. You'll see that at the end of the video. So I don't know what my problem was. It was not that I didn't have a big enough sprue. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the video. I'll show you the important parts of, and how this thing, how a match plate works, how it could benefit you. If you got to make a lot of something, match plates are really a cool way to go. And then when we get to the end, I will show you the finished product as it looks good now. Alrighty, well, let's since we're doing voiceover, let's go ahead and get a little music going. A little holiday cheer. That's nice. All right, so here we go. We got the match plate on, sitting on the drag, or putting it on the cope side of the mold. And so I got the cope side up. I'm going to go ahead and start with the drag side, ramming it up. So we're going to just ram this up like we would any other mold. We're going to put the parting compound on and put on, riddle of sand, and then fill the molds up, ram them up. Went ahead and started with a round pouring basin, but I thought with this larger sprue, I would probably appreciate having a bigger basin, and it turns out I really, I really did appreciate it, and even then it was hard to keep the sprue full. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a rectangular shaped basin now. And we'll just cut in the ridge here. Again, the ridge is there to stop the forward motion of the metal and let it start to fill upward before we go into the sprue. And I'm going to go ahead, now everything's done, I'm going to pull the drag side first because it's the easier side of the mold. And even that, I kind of messed it up. And now we've got it turned over. I want to go ahead and pull the cope side, a little bit more fragile here, so I'm going to tap just to send a little vibration through the mold, just to loosen up that the pattern from the sand. There, pull it carefully, pull it straight up. Yeah, looks good. And here I'm going to go ahead and just scratch in the vents from those lower branches out to those holes that are going to the surface. And we're all cleaned up, so we'll get her closed up and get ready for the pour. There we go. Even with a large basin, I had trouble keeping that sprue full. Sorry you can't see it, but I did keep it full. And we'll get them opened up here, and it's kind of funny. You're going to see this is, I think this is the one that I put the vents in, and we'll see them there. Yeah. And the parts filled great, filled all the way to the end, just what I wanted. And then this guy, I forgot to vent, and look, it filled. So I don't know what to say about that. All right, well there it is. There is the finished product. I'll bring it up close here so you can get a nice little look at it and see what they ended up looking like. You can see that they actually turned out very nice. Wife did the little dot painting thing. She did the wires. She did the beads. She did a hanger on them that I almost dropped. Man, would I be in big trouble for that? Whew. But you notice the porosity in that part? Oh, maybe it's because you just tapered sprue. Maybe. Well, as I said in the voiceover, you know, part of the problem I had with that larger sprue was keeping it full because it did take more metal faster. I cut the bigger basin and had to pour much faster to get those things keep that sprue full. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what happened with them, but we have 40 trees. They all came out looking great. Thank you, my wife. Thank you, Mrs. Dweeb. And anyway, I will leave you with this hate speech. I will say Merry Christmas. And I realize that some find that offensive. Sorry. And I will tell you that. Tell you to be a blessing to somebody, especially this time of year. Be a blessing to somebody and have a great day.